Hi everyone, I'm Saha Karachollu. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, I hope you enjoy this content, and if you are returning, thank you so much for your support. As you know, I'm a life coach and a metaphysical therapist and author of 2 books. In fact, both my books have the subject that I'm going to talk about today, which is past life regression. As a part of being a metaphysical therapist, I have been doing past life regression sessions. I have seen about 800 of my own past lives, and I have probably seen with my clients around 10,000 past lives. So you see, it's nothing really new and exciting because this is what I keep doing, even though every story is very interesting. However, this case, why I want to share it. One, it was a little bizarre, the way it has started and how it has started and why my client wanted to see me. And second, because I want to tell you that you must not fear anything. There is always a reason and there is also always a solution. Only if you care to find about it instead of continuing to stay in fear. So what happened is that a young boy, about 21, 22 years of age, he contacted me through social media and told me that he really needs to speak to me because there's some kind of a fear that he cannot handle it anymore. So when I did the consultation, the fear was that he had started having images of killing himself or killing people, in particular stabbing. And then the fear really became phobic few days ago, just before he contacted me, when he went to the kitchen. He picked up a knife and he kept on staring at it and wanted to stab himself. But something happened and he had to hide the knife and put it back and then go back. And when he went to his room, he had images of him taking the same knife and killing his own dog, which he so dearly loves. So he was in panic mode, as you can imagine. So when we started the past life, the first image was a baby girl around 1.5 or 2 years old perhaps, who was stabbing a doll with a plastic knife. And the word was, this child is going to be a serial killer. So it was too much to handle. So we decided to investigate a little more and then come back to this and see what does this mean. So when we started going back, we went and entered another lifetime where the landing scene was that the client was a baby boy who was born in a prison cell. The mother was in the prison, convicted of something for 8 years. And this child was roaming around in filth, crawling in filth, and the mother was very unfit and unhealthy. And eventually the mother died. And when the mother died, this child was given to the juvenile part of the prison and then eventually into a foster home. And the child grew up very angry. Till now, the client was not seeing what is the reason for the anger. And then the scene moved to this person going to a bar, and eventually and then he just had one friend. He was a workaholic. He was just busy with his work and wanted to make big because he had changed a few foster homes and he had been bullied in one, and he wanted to make something of himself. So till now everything was okay other than the first image of the baby girl. And suddenly he says that I was in the bar with that very good friend of mine, and mind you, the only friend he had, and there was an argument, an altercation, and then he actually stabbed, in the fit of rage, the friend. And then he went home. And then later he started planning to kill people, because the pleasure of killing someone who had bullied him and who had opposed him had switched something or got some chemicals running in his brain which he could not understand what was happening, and he started planning. So he went back with a lot of planning, killed that bartender. Then he went on killing only men. So he became a serial killer and he kept killing men, and there was no remorse or repentance, So when I asked him what happened, why did you have so much of rage, I had to take him back to that past life, to the childhood of that past life, and do an inner child session within the past life regression therapy. And then we realized that he was actually abused by a caretaker in the first foster home, which at the age between 3 to 4. And then when they changed his foster home and he went to the other one, he was bullied by few guys, and he was actually abused and assaulted sexually by few of the senior boys there. And then he decided he wants to forget and he wants to just let go of that part of his life. And as soon as he was 18, 19, he started working very hard and wanted to make something big. But because that rage, that abuse, those scenes of the child playing in the filth was so alive in his subconscious mind, eventually he could not control it, and then he went on to become a serial killer. Then we decided to understand why this life, why would he choose to experience a lifetime, and what was the lesson that he would become a serial killer. Why would the soul want to do something like that? Because our soul essence is of love. So why would someone want to kill someone, right? So as we were asking this question, another past life opened up, where my client in that past life was a male psychologist dealing with criminals of same kind, serial killers, serial rapists, with psychopaths with extreme psychological disorders and psychiatric issues. So one day when he was going through all these files and reading about them and understanding them and looking at the heinous crimes these people had done without any remorse, wondering how can they be human, how come they don't have a conscience, how come they don't feel anything, he became so curious and he so badly wanted to know what would have gone wrong in the brain of these people, and what kind of a chemical reaction in the brain would have caused this, that he kept on researching. And eventually he died with this thought: if I only knew how could one do such heinous crime and never feel anything. And the universe answered his question at the time of death in that lifetime. So he came as in many lifetimes as serial killer. In fact, we then moved forward and we went and saw that baby girl, because by now the client was more comfortable, so things could open up furthermore. And actually even that girl became a serial killer and killed the family members as soon as she was a 16-17-year-old teenager. And it was just a sadistic pleasure and just something wrong in the brain. So you see, anything can be scary. Our mind can be a storage house of a lot of unpleasant stuff, and anything can trigger this. But our job is to investigate. Our job is to find out why is this thing is bothering me, why these kind of thoughts are coming to me, what are the origin of them, and get rid of them so that we don't repeat what we know. Realize that we all operate on patterns, and when such, I would call them ugly thoughts and emotions, surface in your universe, it is important you pay attention, especially if they are repeated. Sometimes these things can be as a result of you watching such programs on TV, because the subconscious mind does not differentiate between what you're watching and what you're actually living. So it can adapt to that if it has a history, if there is a sense of familiarity. So I hope this is not scaring you. My aim and intention was to share that there can be such bizarre stories, and you don't have to be ashamed and embarrassed. You can seek help and you can find solution for such problems, and you can get rid of these things and actually live a life free of guilt, shame, panic, fear and phobia. There is always a way out. There is always a spiritual solution to everything, as Dr. Wayne Dyer said. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more such content if you enjoyed this one. Take care and have a great time.